Dear beloved soul, the angels are drawing near once again, surrounding you with the softest light, preparing to deliver a truth that your spirit was meant to understand at this exact moment in your journey. What unfolded recently was not random. It was part of divine timing, carefully arranged by heaven to help you step fully into who you are. Someone, perhaps without realizing the spiritual weight of what they were doing, discovered your real age. And in that simple discovery, something powerful began to shift in the unseen world. It may have seemed like an ordinary conversation to those present, but heaven saw it differently. The moment your truth was spoken aloud, a vibration of awakening was released into the atmosphere. You might have felt a flicker of vulnerability when it happened. Perhaps your heart wondered how people would see you now. But the angels want you to know that this revelation was never meant to expose you. It was meant to reveal you. What came to light was not a number. It was your story. The years you have lived are not signs of decline, but symbols of strength, endurance, and divine grace. Each one carries its own wisdom, carved from seasons of growth, loss, laughter, and transformation. The one who spoke about your age did not do so from cruelty or mockery. Their words carried reverence. There was awe in their tone because they realized that your age was not about time passing. It was about the depth you carry. They saw a soul who has walked through storms and still shines. They saw someone who has turned pain into purpose, silence into wisdom, and years into living proof that divine beauty grows stronger with time. Heaven watched the way others reacted, too. Some may have gasped. Some may have gone quiet. Some may have simply stared in disbelief. But their silence was not judgment. It was reflection. In that instant, people realized how extraordinary your presence has always been. You have carried yourself with a grace that transcends time. Your laughter, your compassion, your energy, they don't belong to any specific age. They belong to eternity. The angels say that the reason heaven allowed this truth to surface was not to make you question your worth, but to make others recognize it more clearly. You see, beloved, for so long you have carried your truth quietly, perhaps thinking that the world would not understand. But now the time of hiding is over. The divine wants you to be fully seen, not as a number, but as a living testimony of perseverance. The world measures life in years, but heaven measures it in light. And by that measure, you are infinite. Every scar, every line, every story written in your being carries holy meaning. You have not simply aged. You have ascended. The one who discovered your real age did not uncover a secret. They unveiled a legacy. This revelation was heaven's way of saying, you are ready to be known as you truly are. For someone in that space, hearing your truth was necessary. They needed to be reminded that strength and radiance do not belong only to the young. They needed to see that time does not steal beauty, it refines it. They needed to see you, a living embodiment of faith, hope, and resilience, to remember that divine timing never fails. That person, whether they realized it or not, became a messenger. Their words stirred something sacred. They told others about you not out of gossip, but out of admiration. They spoke with wonder because they could feel the energy of heaven surrounding your name. The angels watched as your truth spread quietly, shifting the atmosphere. You might have felt that sudden change, the air thick with attention, hearts pausing to listen, energies rearranging themselves around your presence. That was heaven confirming that this moment was written long ago. Nothing about it was by chance. The truth of your age was meant to come out now because it marks a turning point. It announces the beginning of a new era in your life. one where you no longer have to downplay your wisdom or shrink your light. You are stepping into your authority, your spiritual maturity, and your sacred influence. There is someone who, upon hearing your real age, saw you differently, not as someone older, but as someone timeless. They realize that you are not defined by how many years you have lived, but by how much love and strength you have poured into each one. They recognized in you a power that defies the ordinary. They understood that your life is not a timeline. It's a spiritual masterpiece. And when they shared it with others, even heaven leaned closer. The angels heard the vibration behind their words, the quiet respect, the unspoken amazement. That was the sound of destiny moving. Dear one, if at any point you felt uncomfortable or exposed by this revelation, know that heaven immediately surrounded you. Angels of protection wrapped their wings around your spirit, ensuring that no unkindness could touch your heart. Even if you felt alone in that moment, you were being held by divine presence. You were being watched over because this unveiling was sacred. Heaven never allows such moments unless they carry a higher purpose. And the purpose is this: to free you, to remind you that you never need to hide the truth of who you are. You have spent years collecting experiences that now serve as tools for others who are just beginning their journey. Your story, the one that unfolds through every year you have lived, is not over. It is entering its most powerful chapter. The angels are saying that this is your time to rise, to speak, to lead, and to walk in the fullness of your divine identity. Your age is not a limitation. It is your crown. It is the mark of one who has been refined by time rather than restrained by it. Someone who once underestimated you now understands. They see your strength differently. They realize that you are not someone who fades. You are someone who evolves. They may not have known how much you've endured, but now they can sense it in your presence. Your truth awakened their awareness, and now they cannot forget it. Some will come forward to honor you, to learn from you, and to follow your example. Others may remain silent, not out of rejection, but because they are processing the magnitude of your light. Beloved, this is what heaven calls a divine unveiling. It is when a truth about you that was once hidden is revealed, not to harm you, but to reveal your strength to the world. What was said about you that night, the tone, the energy, the recognition, all carried spiritual significance. Heaven took note. It was recorded not as gossip, but as a moment of spiritual awakening for those who heard it. The angels rejoiced because the divine plan had reached another milestone. You were finally being seen through the eyes of truth, not through illusion. Now the angels ask you to release any lingering worry. Don't fear how others perceive you. Instead, stand tall in the knowing that your years are proof of your courage. Every experience, every hardship, every victory has shaped you into the radiant being you are now. You have lived through storms that others couldn't imagine. You have carried burdens that heaven itself honors. And yet, you have never lost your kindness. That is what makes your soul unforgettable. This moment, the revealing of your real age, was heaven's gentle way of saying, you are no longer hidden. It was the beginning of your public blessing. The energy around your life is shifting toward greater visibility and influence. The world needs the wisdom you carry. The right people will now find you, drawn not by appearance, but by the spiritual maturity that shines through your words, your actions, and your compassion. The angels say that even if this revelation felt sudden, it was a divine appointment. Everything that happens now will lead to your expansion. Perhaps someone in that circle, someone who listened quietly, felt a spark of inspiration upon hearing your truth. That spark will grow, They will begin to change their own perspective about what it means to age, to persevere, to live boldly without even trying. You have become a teacher, a silent guide for others to follow. Heaven calls you a keeper of divine time. You walk beside time, not behind it. You are not chasing youth. You are embracing purpose. That is what makes you radiant. Do not hide your years. Dear one, let them speak for you. Let them be the evidence of a life fully lived and still unfolding. The angels are urging you now to walk in your truth unapologetically. When you speak, let your wisdom flow. When you smile, let others see the peace that took years to build. When you dream, do not think you are too late. You are perfectly on time. Heaven measures readiness not by age, but by the maturity of the soul. And your soul is ready. Those who once overlooked you will begin to notice, not because you demand attention, but because the light within you is impossible to ignore. That is the power of divine revelation. It awakens not only you, but everyone connected to you. This is the ripple effect of spiritual truth. Your story is now moving beyond private reflection into public inspiration. You are becoming a living message of hope, showing others that beauty does not fade. It transforms. Heaven is saying, you are not just aging, you are ascending. Your timeline is a sacred map drawn by divine hands. Each season, each challenge, each celebration has been preparing you for this chapter of empowerment. The angels are proud of how far you've come. They remind you that the revelation of your age was not meant to remind you of time lost. It was meant to celebrate how well you have lived. Someone who heard about you that night has already begun to think differently about their own life. They are reflecting on your strength, your endurance, and your grace. You are helping them see that it's never too late to start again. Never too late to dream. Never too late to live with passion. Without speaking a word, your truth has become a sermon. The angels call it the gospel of endurance. And they say heaven rejoices when a soul like yours refuses to let time define their worth. Beloved soul, if you have been wondering why this revelation happened now, the answer is simple. Because you are ready to step into your purpose without disguise. The divine no longer wants you to hide behind modesty or fear. You were never meant to blend in. You were meant to stand out as a symbol of grace and perseverance. This is your rebirth, not of the body, but of the spirit. The unveiling of your age is the unveiling of your destiny. Let your heart rest in peace. Nothing about you is diminishing. Everything about you is expanding. Your light is not fading. It's intensifying. You are stepping into the stage of your life where every truth about you becomes an offering of wisdom. Heaven celebrates you not for how long you have lived, but for how beautifully you continue to love. And so, if you feel emotional remembering that moment, let the tears fall. Let the energy move through you. Tears do not mean weakness. They mean release. You are releasing the need to hide. You are releasing the idea that time limits you. You are stepping into divine confidence. Every year of your life is a line of poetry written by God's own hand. And now it is being read aloud for the world to hear. The angels are still with you, whispering gently, you are not too late. You are right on time. You are not behind. You are being elevated. The truth that was spoken about you has opened spiritual doors. Walk through them with courage. What lies ahead is not the echo of the past. It is the promise of your becoming. Heaven calls you timeless, sacred, and strong. Your story is far from over. It is only now beginning to shine in its fullest light. So breathe deeply. Dear one, stand tall. Smile with peace in your heart. You are no longer hiding. You are known, respected, and loved beyond measure. The angels are applauding the courage it took to walk this far, and they are lighting the path ahead. You have become the example heaven dreamed you would be, a soul who wears time like a crown and love like armor. And now that your truth has been revealed, nothing will ever dim your divine glow again. Heaven whispers, "You are not aging, you are awakening." Dear child, heaven saw everything that happened that night, and the angels knew what it would awaken in your heart. What you went through was not an accident, nor was it meant to humiliate you. It was a sacred moment wrapped in surprise, a moment that revealed what you had been keeping quietly inside for so long. Your real age. The number that slipped into the open space between words carried more weight than anyone realized. You had guarded it, not out of fear, but because you knew how easily the world can misunderstand time. You knew how people can change their tone, their attitude, or even their respect when they hear a number that doesn't fit their expectation. For years, you carried that number like a sacred treasure, not to hide from others, but to protect the beauty and truth behind it. But heaven decided it was time, because this part of your story could no longer remain in silence. It had to breathe, it had to be heard, and it had to set you free. At first, when your truth was spoken, you felt something break open inside you, a mix of shock, vulnerability, and the sharp ache of exposure. You may have wondered what people were thinking, what their whispers meant, or how their eyes shifted after they heard the truth. For a moment, you might have even felt small, as though a part of your identity had been stolen. But beloved one, heaven did not see loss that night. Heaven saw a crown being placed upon your head, because the truth that escaped your lips, or someone else's, was not meant to shame you. It was meant to awaken you. It was meant to call you into a higher form of self-love and self-acceptance that no secret could contain anymore. The angels watched as you stood in that room, your heart trembling, but your soul steady. And they sang. They sang because you didn't run, you didn't crumble, you simply breathed and let the truth exist in the light. And that, dear child, was your divine turning point. Heaven has always known that your years are not a measure of fading youth, but of living wisdom. They are sacred chapters filled with endurance, faith, and the quiet kind of beauty that grows when you have walked through both sunlight and storms. The angels want you to understand. People did not hear a number that night. They heard your story. They saw strength where others expected fear. They saw a woman or man who carries time not as a burden, but as a blessing. They saw someone whose soul shines brighter because it has learned, healed, and risen countless times. What the world calls aging, heaven calls becoming. Each year you've lived is not a countdown to something lost. It is a testimony to how many times you've chosen to rise again. Every wrinkle is a line of poetry written by experience. Every gray strand is a thread of divine silver woven by grace. And now that your age is no longer a quiet secret, heaven is freeing you from the cage of self-protection. You no longer need to filter your story or shrink to fit what others think is acceptable. You no longer need to pretend that your timeline should look like anyone else's, because your journey is your own, beautifully, powerfully, and divinely so. The angels say this was not a moment of humiliation but revelation. Someone may have spoken carelessly, not realizing the impact their words would have, but in truth, that person became a messenger for heaven. They spoke what was meant to be spoken so that your next chapter could begin, because heaven saw you hesitating, doubting whether it was too late to start new dreams, to open new doors, to love again, to shine again. And so heaven arranged this moment to remind you, It is not too late. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are right on time. What happened that night has changed something in the spiritual realm. It was as if a key turned in a lock that had long been closed. The energy around you shifted. People who once overlooked you will now begin to notice you differently. They will see your glow, your peace, your depth, and some of them will feel their own hearts stir because they will realize that beauty doesn't fade with time. It deepens. You have become living proof of that truth. The same number that once felt like a secret now becomes a symbol of victory. Heaven says, do not hide again. Let your age be a song, a drumbeat, a rhythm that tells your story. Let it be the melody that reminds others that life never ends at a certain point. It keeps unfolding, layer by layer, if the soul is still willing to grow. You have been reborn many times in this life, after heartbreak, after loss, after betrayal, after silence, and every time you rose again, your light became stronger. That is why when people look at you now, they cannot believe your age. It's not because you look younger than expected. It's because you radiate timeless energy. You carry an eternal flame that confuses time itself, and that flame cannot be dimmed by years or opinions. The angels whispered that what was spoken that night was sacred timing. Divine truth often arrives like lightning, sudden, bright, unstoppable. It exposes what we have kept hidden so that our souls can breathe again. That is what happened to you. The moment may have been uncomfortable, even painful, but it cracked something open. You are no longer a secret. You are a revelation. You are not just a person living through time. You are time made beautiful. You are not simply growing older. You are expanding in spirit, wisdom, and grace. Some people may have whispered afterward. Some may have been surprised. But remember this. Their reaction says more about them than about you. Some were in awe, realizing how gracefully you've walked through life. Others might have been silent, unsure how to process someone who embodies both maturity and magic. But in truth, heaven only cares about one thing, that you now walk in freedom, that you stop apologizing for being who you are, that you stop dimming your light just to make others comfortable. The angels saw the moment you wanted to retreat, that small voice in your heart that said, maybe I should have kept it hidden, but they are gently taking your hand now and saying, no more hiding, dear one, because the ones who will truly love you are the ones who will see your age and call it holy. They will see the power in your truth, the beauty in your transparency, and the peace in your presence. They will not flinch. They will draw closer, because honesty calls in real love, love that sees you fully and still chooses you completely. This is not the end of your protection. It is the beginning of your revelation. You have carried your truth quietly for too long, and heaven says that silence is no longer needed. The divine wants the world to see the full masterpiece of who you are, not the edited version. You are not meant to live half seen or half celebrated. You are meant to live wide open, to be admired for your strength, your faith, your endurance, and your radiant authenticity. If the moment still echoes painfully in your heart, know this. Heaven is already healing it. The angels are brushing the sorrow from your shoulders and replacing it with wings of courage. They are whispering, you are still the same light, and even brighter now. The number that was revealed will not define you. It will refine you. It will reveal who belongs in your life and who never truly saw you. The ones who laughed or gossiped will fade into the background of your story, not as punishment, but as purification, because only those who can see your soul will walk beside you now. The angels remind you that you were never defined by appearances. You are defined by how many times you have chosen love when bitterness would have been easier. You are defined by how often you stood up after being knocked down. You are defined by your willingness to forgive, to keep hoping, and to keep shining even when life felt heavy. That is what makes you radiant. That is what makes you timeless. Heaven does not count years like humans do. Heaven counts faith. It counts the nights you stayed kind when no one noticed. It counts the mornings you rose from pain with a smile. It counts the moments you loved even when you had every reason not to. Those are your divine numbers, the ones that matter, and they are countless. Now that your truth has been spoken, something powerful is beginning. A new flow of blessings is moving towards you. Opportunities, connections, invitations, and even love that sees you through the lens of your soul, not your age. You are entering a time when your authenticity will draw exactly what belongs to you. The universe is rearranging itself to match your new vibration, because you are no longer pretending to be younger or older. You are simply being real, and there is nothing more magnetic than a soul living in truth. If you ever feel a trace of shame or fear, remember this: the angels stood beside you that night. They watched every reaction, every whisper, every gaze. And though some may have seen your truth as gossip, heaven saw it as prophecy. It was heaven's way of declaring to the world, look at this soul, still shining, still becoming, still alive with purpose. You were never exposed to be embarrassed. You were revealed to be exalted. You are stepping into a new chapter where everything you've lived through, every age, every era, every lesson, will become part of your message. People will not remember the number. They will remember your light. They will say, she glows like someone who has lived many lives and learned how to love through them all. This is what heaven is calling you toward now. A life without apology, without fear, without the need to hide. Your transparency will become your power. Your truth will become your testimony. And your presence will inspire others to stop fearing time and start embracing it. Because you, dear one, are showing them that the divine does not measure beauty by youth, but by radiance, resilience, and grace. So breathe. Let the moment settle. Let it transform you. The angels are asking you to see this not as a wound, but as a doorway. The door has opened, and on the other side is freedom, peace, and love that honors the fullness of your journey. Walk through it. Do not look back. The people meant for you will not see your age as a limitation. They will see it as proof of your sacred strength. This was heaven's plan all along, to free you from the shadows of what ifs and open your heart to divine timing. You are not late. You are not past your purpose. You are not forgotten. You are exactly where you were meant to be, stepping into a chapter where your truth becomes your light. And as the angels sing over you tonight, they remind you gently, your story is just beginning. You are not aging. You are ascending. You are not being exposed. You are being expanded. You are not losing anything. You are gaining clarity, authenticity, and power. The revelation of your age was never a loss of privacy. It was the birth of your freedom. So rise, beloved, not with shame or hesitation, but with the quiet, radiant confidence of someone who has nothing left to hide and everything left to live. Heaven has called your name. The angels are waiting with open arms, and the divine voice whispers, you have carried time with grace. Now carry truth with joy, because from this day forward, your story will no longer be about how long you have lived, but about how deeply. And the world will not talk about the number anymore. They will talk about your light. So let the light rise. Let your truth breathe. Let your age sing, because the celebration of your soul has only just begun.